Do you already know who I am? Number. Well, in case you had been to bet, judging through your age, appearance, and how a Marine colonel simply observed your order without a yip, I bet you're some sort of excessive stage spook. Your father and grandfather served as an elite sniper. You've got 113 showed kills and an extra 81 likely kills. Are the ones numbers accurate? Number. Are the real numbers fewer or greater? Greater. Then, the remote hum of a aircraft cuts via the silence. Dross awakes instantly, her hand already achieving for her weapon. She watches as a person steps off the aircraft. Bang, an unmarried shot. He falls, just every other day in her world. Meanwhile, Levi, a former Marine, jolts wide conscious from a nightmare, the sort that leaves you watching the ceiling. To clean his head, he heads to the beach. His Telecel smartphone buzzes. A text. Report to the Marine Corps base. No explanation, simply an order. At the base, Levi meets Agent Bartholomew. She's sharp, all business. She is aware of his record, elite sniper, no family, no ties, perfect for the activity she's offering. It's vague, secretive, and precisely the sort of project Levi cannot refuse. In Lithuania, Drossa stands in a cemetery. It's the anniversary of her mother's death. Her father is there too, but he is now no longer simply mourning. He stalks grim news. His most cancers is untreatable. If he's nevertheless alive with the aid of using February 14th, he's going to quit his lifestyles to reunite together along with his wife. Drossa is left speechless. However, there may be no time to process. Her lifestyles is ready to take a pointy flip too. Months later, Levi wakes up groggy, strapped right into a aircraft seat. The closing element he recollects is a needle prick. He asks the soldier subsequent to him wherein they are. She become now no longer legal to reply it and amassed his non-public property before the jumps out of the aircraft. Levi steps into the open sky, unfastened falls, and pulls the parachute cord. He lands safely. However, the real task is simply beginning. Ahead of him lies a grueling trek. Levi sooner or later reaches the brink of a large gorge wherein he's greeted with the aid of using soldier JD, who's been stationed right here for a year. JD admits he does not recognize wherein they are either, simply that it is remote, isolated, and shrouded in mystery. Together, they head to the West Tower, a self-enough fortress, powered with the aid of using sun strength and backed up with the aid of using a generator. It's ready with everything, including a rainwater system and a vegetable garden. Across the gorge looms the East Tower, however touch with its defense precisely forbidden. The gorge itself is a demise trap. Landmines and tactical boundaries line north and south, making crossing impossible. As JD suggests Levi around, he lays out the mission. Every day, Levi ought to patrol the western rim, restocking ammo in the automated gun turret's space each 600 meters. He'll additionally want to test the containment fence, suspended mines, and cloakers, gadgets that scramble satellite TV for PC signals to preserve the gorge invisible. The radio assessments in each 30 days, however there may be no manner to speak returned. In case of an emergency, there may be a panic button that activates something known as the stray dog protocol, though JD has no idea what it does. His advice? If it ever is going off, run. JD explains the gorge's history, dating returned to the Cold War. Military groups from exceptional nations made a percent to preserve this vicinity secret, so secret that even heads of country and presidents do not know it exists. Levi's process is simple: whatever's within inside the gorge from getting out. It sounds insane, and JD admits he used to assume so too, till he noticed the creatures. The guards named them Hollowmen, and their eerie screeches echo from the gorge below. JD stalks a chilling story. In the past 1940s, 3 horseback battalions had been sent in to clean the gorge. None returned. Since then, the assignment shifted from cleanup to containment. Levi's undertaking is clear: hold the line, regardless of what. After JD leaves the tower, he hikes to the pickup point. A helicopter arrives, reducing a rope. A soldier asks for his identity, and JD offers the password. However, as opposed to a pleasant hand, he is met with a bullet to the head. His frame is dumped within inside the mountains. A month later, Levi has settled into his monotonous routine. He walks the perimeter, keeps the protection systems, and tests in at the radio. The voice on the alternative give up simplest tasks if everything's fine, then hangs up earlier than Levi can say more. One day, even as tending the garden, Levi hears a noisy noise from the east tower. He grabs his binoculars and spots Drasa, slicing wood, alive and real. Another month passes, and Drasa decides to rejoice her birthday, alone. However, now no longer quiet, tired of the silence, she fires a shot to clutch Levi's attention. She holds up a sign. "What's your name?" Levi writes back, reminding her they're now no longer imagined to talk. Unfazed, Drasa replies together along with her name and announces she'll do something she wishes on her birthday. Amused, Levi stalks his name and increases a tumbler for a toast. Drasa cranks up music, dancing wildly, and dares Levi to join. He admits he is a terrible dancer, however an extremely good sniper. Drasa teases him by capturing his water bottle. Levi fires back, hitting hers with precision, but the amusing stops while Drasa spots motion within inside the gorge. Levi seems down and sees them, creatures that appear to be people product of trees, mountain climbing the gorge walls. Without hesitation, Levi shoots one, sending it tumbling onto a mine. The explosion takes out numerous others. Drasa joins in, firing her device gun. Together, they fend off the attack. However, simply as they assume it's over, a creature reaches Drasa's balcony. She shoots it multiple instances earlier than kicking it off. The monsters then swarm her facet of the gorge, forcing both snipers to combat return to return. Another explosion sends shrapnel flying, injuring Drasa's shoulder. The subsequent morning, Drasa has a tendency to her wounds, grinning, as she tells Levi it turned into the best birthday she's ever had. Levi heads right all the way down to restore the harm and update the mines, but as he works, something sudden happens. A drone emerges from the gorge and flies off into the distance. Levi watches it go, uneasy, however uncertain what it means. By December, Levi comes to a decision to carry a little excursion cheer to their grim surroundings. He decorates a tree inside a wooded area with lighting and places up a signal for Drasa. From there, their bond grows. They construct snowmen with every other's names, play chess, and even a drum on makeshift pots. On February 14th, Levi notices Drasa crying in the front of a own circle of relatives photo. He asks why she skipped patrol, and she admits she's having a difficult day. She needs he will be there with her. Determined, Levi receives creative. Using equipment from the armory, he builds a contraption and fires a rocket throughout the gorge, attaching a rope. He then ziplines throughout, even though he receives caught midway and has to pull himself the relaxation of the way. When he sooner or later reaches Drasa's tower, he fingers her flowers. She teases him approximately smelling awful, so Levi takes a shower earlier than they proportioned dinner. Over the meal, they open up approximately their lives as mercenaries and the toll it takes on their minds. The nighttime ends with a dance and more. However, via way of means of mourning, Levi is aware of he has to go back to his tower. As he ziplines returned, the whole men reappear, triggering a mine explosion that severs the rope. Levi plummets, deploying his parachute simply in time. Drasa, seeing the danger, grabs weapons and a parachute, jumping into the gorge after him. Drasa lands in a river, her parachute snagging on the rock. She cuts it free, however the present day slams her right into a boulder, inflicting her to drop her auto-ascender. She slightly manages to seize onto tree roots and pull herself to safety. Meanwhile, Levi hangs subconscious from a tree. A department starts to evolve to move. It's now no longer a department, however a monster. Levi wakes simply in time, taking pictures the creature even as entangling himself. He falls, touchdown in what looks as if mud, till it begins a vault transferring. It's the mouth of another monster, slowly final round him. Just as Levi is approximately to be swallowed, Drasa arrives, weapons blazing. She saves him inside the nick of time. After Drasa cautiously scrapes the sticky substance off Levi together along with her knife, the two begin transferring closer to the gorge wall, hoping to discover a manor-up. But earlier than they are able to get far, the eerie screeching of the whole guise echoes through the air. Two of the tree-like creatures appear, using horses that look simply as twisted and mutated as they are. A fierce conflict ensues. However, Levi and Drossa control to fight them off. Even though now no longer without a struggle, Drossa assessments her bag and realizes the car sender is gone. It ought to have fallen into the river, with the partitions too high to climb. They may be trapped. Drossa shows following the river. It has to guide somewhere. As they move, Levi examines certainly considered one among the lifeless creatures and makes a chilling discovery. It's carrying a vintage Navy uniform. These whole guys are not simply monsters. They may be the lost horseback battalions from J.D.'s story. Twisted through something lurks on this gorge. The duo presses on through the forest, passing loads of skeletons alongside the manor. Eventually, they come across a deserted town. Its buildings swallowed through mutated plants. The screeching grows louder. More creatures are coming. Levi and Drossa take shelter in a church. Best to locate it filled with skeletons seated in the pews. The scent of cyanide hangs with inside the air, a grim reminder that the humans right here selected death over residing on this nightmare. Suddenly, a noise above catches Drossa's attention. She seems up to peer a large spider lunging at her. More spiders swarm in, and the two infantrymen open fire, preventing desperately to preserve them off. Drossa runs out of bullets, and Levi covers her even as she reloads. Just as they make a damage for the door, whole guys burst in. Drossa grabs a grenade and hurls it at the returned wall, blasting a hollow large sufficient for them to escape. They dash into the forest, the screeching of creatures nonetheless haunting them. Realizing they're too exposed, they move towards the gorge wall and discover an antique door. Inside, they find out a facility, lengthy, deserted and overtaken through the identical mutated plant life. Deeper into the facility, Levi and Drossa discover its darkish past. Skeletons muddle the halls, and Drossa manages to energy up an antique generator, bringing the lab to life. Levi unearths a tape and performs it on a projector. The photos exhibits a scientist from 1946 explaining that this vicinity became as soon as a top-secret coalition of countries operating on biochemical missiles during World War II. However, 6 days earlier than the recording, an earthquake brought about a chemical leak. The toxin merged with the DNA of local plant life and animals, mutating them. The scientists labored tirelessly to include it. However, prolonged publicity started affecting them too, evidenced through the girl on display displaying branches developing from her stomach. The gorge, however, saved the toxin contained, sparing the relaxation of humanity. In every other room, Levi and Drossa discover a present-day computer, proving that human beings persevered, coming right here lengthy after the preliminary disaster. Levi powers it on and discovers the facility is now owned through Dark Lake, a personal paramilitary corporation. What Levi noticed in advance become collecting samples for Dark Lake's experiments to create super soldiers, the towers and employed guards, only a cowl to keep the operation secret. Levi additionally learns the truth approximately the Stray Dog Protocol. It's a nuclear bomb designed to sterilize the region in case of every other leak. As they put together to leave, Levi tells Drossa that despite everything, coming right here become worth it due to the fact he met her. They open the door, toss a smoke grenade, and step out. But chance isn't always far. A whole man's whip lashes out, wrapping round Drossa's ankle and dragging her away. Levi chases after her. However, the rider is fast, pulling Drossa via the forest. She attempts to reduce the whip together along with her knife, however crashes into a tree, dropping her blade. She fires her gun. However, the consistent hits from rocks and logs make it not possible to aim. Levi follows the tracks, decided to keep her, however instead stumbles upon the facility housing the nuclear bomb. Inside the facility, the whole guy has Drossa strung up, torturing her with the aid of twisting the branch lodged in her stomach. She grits her teeth, kicks him tough in the chest, and frees herself with the aid of untying the ropes. Grabbing a bit of steel, she fights back. However, the whole guy overpowers her. A snake-like creature in his chest lunges at her. However, Drossa refuses to present up. She decapitates the snake and hurls the steel on the whole guy. It doesn't do much damage. However, it enrages him. He chases her across the room, slashing wildly together along with his sword. Drasa grabs Bones to guard herself and lighting a torch from a bonfire, the usage of it to set her enemy ablaze. As the whole guy screams in agony, Levi bursts in and finishes him with a well-located shot. Reunited, Levi and Drasa proportion a relieved hug. Levi examines the whole guy's uniform and acknowledges the name. That's the primary guard who as soon as manned his tower. Armed with the creature's sword, they press on, eventually attaining the supply of the preliminary leak. The room is a nightmare. Mutated creatures are trapped in a thick, pulsating goo, their faces eerily breathing inside the poisonous sludge. Levi and Drasa pass a shaky bridge. Unnerved with the aid of using the gruesome points of interest around them, Drasa accidentally steps on a root, and when she pulls her foot free, the goo-covered our bodies start to collapse, attaining for her. Levi swings the sword, reducing via the roots to store her, but the commotion wakes large creatures, their roars echoing via the chamber. As Levi hacks via the goo to clean a path, a whip-like tendril grabs his ankle, yanking him down. Drasa would not hesitate. She fires a grenade in the back of them. The explosion ignites the creatures in the goo, sending flames ripping via the structure. Levi and Drasa dash for the stairs, the inferno at their backs, and subsequently burst out into the open air. After escaping the fiery chaos below, Levi and Drasa search the city and stumble upon a storage packed with army jeeps. They join a battery, soar into one, and velocity off, driving, till they locate the broken rope. From there in advance escape. Levi speedy ties the rope to the jeep, even as Drasa stands guard, firing on the whole guy's final in. When she runs out of bullets, they transfer locations seamlessly. With the jeep ready, they start ascending the gorge wall. At first, it is going smoothly, however quickly they be aware the whole guy's mountain climbing after them. Drasa kicks one off, and Levi takes over, the use of the sword to fend off the relentless creatures. In a determined move, he stabs the jeep's fuel and tank, climbs back up, and lighting a flare, hurling it on the pursuing monsters. The flare ignites the dripping propane, inflicting a massive explosion that engulfs the hollow guys in flames. With the pinnacle inside attained, they reduce the rope, sending the jeep plummeting onto the remaining creatures below. Exhausted and injured, they climb the relaxation of the manor to Drasa's tower. As they have a tendency to their wounds, they agree to a 5-day quarantine to make certain neither is infected. They additionally make plans to break out to France together. However, first, they want to smash the gorge. They presage a heartfelt kiss, and Levi confesses his love earlier than the use of a grappling gun to return to his tower. The subsequent day, for the duration of the radio check-in, Levi is amazed when Bartholomew solutions instead of the same old operator. She's determined the lab laptop was accessed and suspects a person entered the gorge. Levi denies it, however Bartholomew deduces Drasa have to be involved, and orders Levi to kill her. He pretends to comply, however the name ends with tension, thick with inside the air. Unbeknownst to them, the lab laptop had a camera. Bartholomew was aware of each had been with inside the gorge. She calls a commander, ordering a group to put together for a challenge to the site. The subsequent morning, as Levi and Drasa put together their plan, Drasa writes a message for Levi, "I love you back." However, their second is interrupted through the sound of an approaching helicopter. They clutch their equipment and bolt into the forest, knowing Bartholomew's group is final in. When the infantrymen discover the tower's empty, they set up armed drones, sparking a high-stakes chase. The drones open fire, forcing Levi and Drasa to shoot back even as dodging bullets. They take out the drones one through one, however now no longer without maintaining injuries. Finally, they attain a vantage factor high sufficient to execute their plan. Taking their sniper positions, they goal the cloakers. The mines they planted earlier trigger a chain reaction, destroying the cloakers and exposing the gorge. The stray dog protocol activates. A nuclear bomb is now counting down. Bartholomew and her team scramble for the helicopter, desperate to escape. Levi and Drasa run for their lives, the ground shaking beneath them. The bomb detonates, a massive explosion engulfing the gorge. The shockwave brings down the helicopter, killing everyone inside. Levi, caught in the blast, is thrown off a cliff into a river below. Drasa narrowly escapes, taking refuge in a cave to wait for Levi. A month passes with no sign of him. Heartbroken, Drasa leaves for France alone, starting a new life as a waitress. Then, one day, as she's working, she freezes. There, at a table, is Levi. He smiles, explaining it took him weeks to recover from his injuries. More whelmed with relief and joy, they share a long-awaited kiss, finally reunited. Well, that's the end of this recap. If you enjoyed this movie, consider subscribing for more interesting stories. See you in the next video.